Hello, how are you? Hope you're okay. I'm going to talk about 3 threats to the future of teaching English, particularly for self-employed, but for anybody teaching English in Japan. 3 threats for the future, and at the end of the video I'll tell you how I think we can keep going and fight off these threats, though they are quite major issues. Right, number 1, the big threat I see, I mean, of course, it has to be said, none of us can see the future, including me. I know, hard to believe. But anyway, big threat I would suggest, just looking at the trends now, is technology. Now, certainly AI is, there's sort of a backlash now. As I record this, it's, March 2026. And there's a kind of backlash against AI as being inhuman and not very good and likely to take jobs and all sorts of things. And so I might be just reacting to that. It may not be true. Who can say? I don't know. However, yeah, I've said before, I think AI is a threat on the lower end, or the people who don't want to spend much money are going to say, okay, I don't need to spend any money. I'll just get AI. It's for free at the moment before they put adverts on it. I'll use AI for my training techniques. For my training needs to learn English. And those people maybe wouldn't spend money on English lessons anyway, so it doesn't really matter. A bigger issue is people might get used to that as the standard thing of using AI, and even younger generations wanting to just, being able to talk to the computer to them is enough. And, oh yeah, I know my English. I don't know how to reach those kinds of people, the kinds of people that are happy talking to a computer and feel happier than speaking to humans. I don't think there are that many people like that. And I think also there's a possibility that people could start with AI and then graduate to real humans. Who knows? I would be more nervous if I was working for a Juku, where the whole thing is very formulaic, learning grammar rules and how to pass exams. That to me sounds like something that could be taken over by AI a lot more than humans. However, teachers can motivate people where AI doesn't, and that might be a clue to what we can do. Anyway, so there's a broad, technology is kind of a big question mark about, it's really affecting the business, and how we respond to it is a good question. So that's one, technology. The second one, in Japan specifically, but maybe everywhere, and that's demographic change, which means there ain't so many kids around. I've noticed in the last 20 years, when I first started teaching English 20 odd years ago in Japan, the main business was teaching to business people, or maybe that was just, I got a job at Berlitz and that was their cup of tea. I've noticed, however, that the local Berlitz has closed. The branch in Kashiwa is the nearest place to us. Not that that's a great shame. I don't think anybody really is tearful about that, other than the people working there. But anyway, my point is that in the last 20 years, the cash cow has been teaching children. A lot of places have in the private sector, outside of education, outside of schools, has been to focus on preschoolers and things like Juku and training for passing tests. There ain't so many kids around, so for my school, we used to have like 15 years ago we had like 35, 40 kids, preschoolers. Now we're down to about 5, 8, something like that. I don't know if that's just us or if that's symbolic of elsewhere, but I have a feeling that that's sort of not uncommon, that the number of kids is getting fewer. What can you do about that? Well, I mean, one thing you can do, I'll get into what you can do later, but Focus on a different part of the market. Maybe it's not kids, maybe it's not business people, maybe it's old folks. I could see where we used to be quite an easy, well, not easy, but a good market was kindergartens, and it's fairly easy to make a kindergarten lesson and get a lot of kids in and dancing and singing, and fairly easy to make that lesson and to do the job and to make decent money. That might have dried up. I mean, it's still there, but it's not. There's a lot more competition for fewer places. Instead, how about going to an old folks home? And it's largely similar level of English. And they like songs too, and they like dancing around and very simplistic sort of things. I could see teaching in old folks homes as being a source of income. That may not light your fire. It doesn't particularly light my fire, but that could be that's one response to changing demographics. Finally, the third big threat is just the circumstances of internationalism and it's hard to say how that's really going to affect us as an English teacher, but it's got to have some effect. The collapse of globalism as America looks more and more inward, and I don't know how that's really going to affect. I mean, time will tell. There's that, and then on the Japanese side, it's getting harder and harder to. Well, there's more hoops to jump through to get your Japan residency. It's costing more, and there's I don't know how much of it is genuinely an anti-foreigner feeling, or if it's just we keep stoking it up by talking about it. It feels like that. Because one-to-one, I don't feel the anti-foreigner thing, but apparently I keep reading about it, so it must be there. It may be one of those things that where if you keep looking for something, you'll find it. If you're looking for anti-foreigner bias, you'll find it. If you're looking for acceptance, fortunately, you can still find it. So, I don't know. Okay, I don't know what we can do about that, but as a general, the remedy for all these sorts of threats are to focus locally, are to focus on customer service and providing what you can do as an English teacher for your people. Your local area or whatever your target is. That may be sort of maybe obvious advice, but worrying too much about the macro issues doesn't help put rice in your bowl. Is that the right expression? Doesn't put butter on your toast. Instead, doing a good job, having a strong connection to your students. An example of that would be, for example, I used to teach kindergarten kids, preschool playgroup stuff. And I'm still teaching. Some of those students are still with me 20 years later. They're going to university, and they're still coming for lessons once a week. So, having the ability to teach all ages and a variety of things allows you to. I don't have to keep searching for new students. This year, we've been very lucky. I think one, possibly two people have quit this time round in March, ready for April, the start of the new school year in Japan. Often you get a turnover of lots of people quitting and hopefully lots of people joining. This year we've had more people join than have quit, and in fact we only had one or two people quit, and we've had 3-4 people join. These are small numbers, but as I was trying to sort of get to in a previous video talking about numbers and how many kids you need, once you've got the ball rolling, you don't have to constantly replace 100 new students every year. It's more like if you get 10 students coming, that will replace maybe 10 people who quit. This year only 2 people quit, so looks like it'll be a good year, but you never know. So yeah, the other thing to say is if you're self-employed, you are able to adapt and to change a lot faster than a big company that has to follow certain procedures or has some cockamamie idea from headquarters. You don't have to do that. You can have all your cockamamie ideas yourself. But if you have a few good ideas, it works. And if you have a few bad ideas, stop doing that. Start doing some good ideas. So adjust. Right, okay, I'm waffling now. That's it. I hope this has been some help to you. It's getting sunny now. I'm just waiting for the supermarket to open so I can buy some English muffins, which we ran out of earlier. Yeah, have a good weekend. And, be careful out there.